Hello, this is Jamie Mitchell, and we are back in another episode of the Libertarian Uncensored Podcast, going over all the posts on the Libertarian Uncensored subreddit. Let's get into it. So first we have No Original Fault Say from Michael Malice on Twitter, and I posted that, and that was him replying to some guy, I guess, and then he shared a meme. It was the NPC's program to have a finite number of possible responses. It's like the Final Fantasy shopkeeper. It says Trump, incel, white supremacy, grifter, traitor, and I said, feels like that's more Reddit than Twitter these days. You know, that seems like Reddit has a lot more NPCs who just throw those buzzwords at you if you dare to send at all. And then I also shared another tweet from him, Frank Mouse. That was him replying to another guy who says, "I just want a savage retribution from Donald Trump." And he says, "No, he won't give it to you." And a link to a tweet he made on November 17th, 2018. "I can get Nancy Pelosi as many votes as she wants in order for her to be Speaker of the House. She deserves this victory. She has earned it, but there are those in her party who are trying to take it away. She will win at Tom Reed Congress." And I said, that's Trump's much more a DNC asset than a Russian asset, despite what a lot of people would have you believe. He's just pretty much controlled opposition. And I think if he wins election this year, I don't think much is going to change, sadly. Then we have, I got laid off from Cataboo on YouTube, and I posted that, and I said, I usually don't cheer when I see people get laid off, but when it's from a DNC shill company like Media Matters, it just brings a smile to my face. And I also linked to another Michael Mouse tweet, I like his response as well. You see him in the Joker maker says, when you see them get what they fucking deserve. And I agree with that, I don't like Media Matters. They push for censorship, and increasingly you can't say anything anymore without the censorship lords coming after you, and I don't think that's very libertarian. We need support, free speech, and free expression, and sadly, I don't think that is how the world is going anymore. Then we have, I think we should treat government like we do streaming services, and I put as a self-post that I made, and I said, you should be able to subscribe to as many or as few of them as you want to, and should be able to cancel your subscription anytime for any reason. If you want to subscribe to a socialist/communist/fascist/nationalist government, you should be able to. Well, I personally wouldn't. I'm fine with collectivism as long as it's voluntary. And that's my thoughts on that issue, I think subscribe to whatever government you want, just like subscribe to whatever streaming service you want, and if you don't want to subscribe to government or streaming service, I don't think you should have to, that's my thoughts on that issue. I think we should just have all the ideologies form their own governments, and if people want to subscribe to them, then they should be able to, and if they don't want to subscribe to anything, they also shouldn't be able to be forced to as well, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have motion to Donald Trump to go after himself from speechman.org from Foreign Chimney, and that's a clip from the Libertarian Convention. And I definitely don't like Donald Trump. I think he's just a controlled opposition. He's pretty much a DNC asset. He's just gonna do whatever the Democrats want, and I think it's just professional wrestling. It's all kayfabe, it's not real. It's just they're all just acting. Then we have Libertarian Convention devolves into fighting obscenities on eve of Trump's visit from Politico.com by Ninja Lover, and it's just libertarian infighting. That's just kind of a regular thing at this point. So I don't think that's too surprising, and that's my thoughts at that issue. Then we have Nullification in Action, the shocking true story of fugitive slave Anthony Burns on YouTube, and that's from Anarcho Federation. And they added, this is an absolutely incredible story of resistance to federal power. Anthony Burns, born into slavery, escaped, captured, in the center of a massive standoff between people in Boston and the federal government. And they definitely think that's libertarian. Ultimately, I think if you don't want something, if you don't feel like the law is legitimate, I think the jury should be able to nullify whatever laws they want to, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Vivek says we can get a seat at the table on Trump's admin if we work with them. How about no? We won't break from our principles, and that's from Griff12838, and that's links to a tweet from Liam McCollum. Vivek Ross indicates that the LP national members get behind Trump in November. Libertarians will have a seat at the table. I don't believe it's nearly enough to win us over, but Donald Trump could selecting Vivek for 2 rounds. Thomas Massey, Rand Paul as VP candidate. I kind of see both sides here. I think I don't really, I personally don't trust the nationalists, just like I don't trust the communists or the socialists. I think, the jury's going to stab you in the back instead of the front. That's why I personally write in fictional characters or third-party candidates. I don't trust the politicians who actually serve in office to have my best interest at heart, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And we have Vivek Ramaswamy. The future of this country depends on the Libertarian Nationalist Alliance. That's what I believe is required from Nuance Matters on X, and they added in Sue booing from the room. That's I kind of went over my last thing, but yeah, I definitely don't know if we should have an alliance. This is racing on YouTube or Twitter, and I don't think we should have an alliance. Personally, I think they're just going to backstab us, and they just care about us for our votes, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have. I think that the mass immigration might end up screwing over the Democrats in the long term. And I posted that and I said it's no secret right now that the GOP is against it and the Democrats are for it. What I think is interesting is that a lot of the immigrants coming in are from conservative, if not progressive cultures, and I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them end up going for the GOP in the long run, especially if the Democrats stop giving them benefits. It's like how a lot of people on the left seem to view Islam as a progressive religion, when in reality, Sharia law is just the crystal fascism that they supposedly hate. It's why I'm seeing this the far right has now increasingly become LGBTQ, and I linked a story from 2015. Sweden far right plans gay pride parade in mainly Muslim area, and I said thoughts, and my thoughts on that are I definitely do think this mass immigration, all these Latin Americans and Muslims coming up into the country might, end up biting the Dems in the ass, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. Then we have Biden is hiring a meme manager and is wanting to pay up to $85,000 from Business Insider, and I posted that and I said, why not just campaign Animal Crossing again? And I linked a story from CNN when he did that. And, I personally think, Biden should be able to hire whoever he wants, but that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to think, I'm not allowed to not think it's cringe. So, I definitely do think this is kind of cringe, especially since, Donald Trump, he really has his community do them for free, do the memes for free, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Libertarian Party National Convention Day 2 on YouTube, and I posted that from Libertarian Party, and I said, I don't know if they're planning on selecting the POTUS candidate today or tomorrow, but it should be interesting regardless. Also, who is speaking tonight, then that will certainly be interesting as well. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Missouri cop fatally shoots blind and deaf dog after it wandered onto neighbor's yard. City defense officer, and that's from Baton 13, and it's crosswords from the public freakout subreddit. And I definitely don't think that's good. It just goes to show you the state can come after you at any second, or your pets as well. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, after mice drink raw H5N1 milk, bird flu virus rules their organs from ArsTechnical.com by Baton 13. And, I definitely don't think, I personally wouldn't drink raw milk, but if you want to, I think you should be able to. I think the same thing about cigarettes and pretty much anything you want to put in your body, I think you should be able to. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have Angela McCardle and the LPMC got exactly what they wanted yesterday. Now they will try to form an LP Nationalist Alliance from Griff12838, links to a tweet from Clint Russell, who tweets, Major thanks for giving myself and to this opportunity. This opportunity. I see this is the same goals as I do and overlap or greater difference when it comes to the remedy. He's a great guy and just reaching out one night. My response was, there's between the rationalists and communists is that they will only just stab you in the back instead of the front. And that's why I want to go for them. But if you want to form a voluntary collective alliance, I think you should be able to do so. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have how the Libertarian Party that turned from Trump came to embrace him, from Washington Post by Ninja Lover. And, I definitely don't really care for Donald Trump, but if Libertarians want to support Donald Trump, I think they should be able to. Just like, if you want to label yourself as Libertarian Fascist or Libertarian Communist, I think you should be able to. But that being said, I personally won't see you as much as a Libertarian if you support Donald Trump or Joe Biden for that matter, and that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have the case against nationalism from Creator.org by Farr and Chimney. And, I definitely, I'm against nationalism. I think if people want to voluntarily be nationalists, I think they should be able to do so. But the thing with nationalists, just like communists, fascists, socialists, all the otherists, is that they want to enforce their worldviews on you. And that's why I don't think they're very libertarian. And that's my thoughts on that issue. Then we have, just in case you live under a rock, the LP Convention live stream on YouTube from Dina B. Free. And, I posted that earlier, but I definitely do think it's interesting. So then we have, Angela McCarter wins re-election as chair of the Libertarian Party from Nuance Matters. And, yeah, I personally think she's been very controversial with how Mises Caucus affiliated she is. But, ultimately, if if the Libertarians at the convention want to re-elect her, I think they should be able to do so. And that's my thoughts on that issue. And then finally, we have Nate Silver, Libertarians Are the Real Liberals from Reason.com by MC Cufflinks. And, I definitely do think, libertarian is a lot what, like, the classical liberals were. That's why I think, they don't call them as liberals, though, because I think liberals kind of a lost word, and, a lot of people these days see liberal and they think leftist, but, I think classical liberalism is worth preserving, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And then I have another tweet I wanted to post, but I can't post because I got suspended. So, I'll say that, right here, it's from, where is it? Wayne Burkett on, Twitter. He says, Kyle Rittenhouse is the only human being leftists have ever criticized for putting themselves in a bad situation that led to bad outcomes. In literally every single case of a police shooting, for example, time starts a fraction second before the police pulled the trigger, and you're not supposed to mention literally anything that wasn't directly related to the shooting. You're never supposed to mention why the altercation started, how it escalated. You're not supposed to mention criminal history. You're supposed to imagine that the year started in its exact configuration at the moment the police officer pulled the trigger. And I added, you've got a good point there. If there's anything that goes against the narrative, EX George Floyd took on drugs during the kind of trouble, then it'll be swept under the rug, though I would argue that's simply a common partisan tactic in the times we live in, and that's my thoughts on that issue. And then I added another tweet. I said, I got, looks like Reddit suspended my account for a week. I wish I could move to X full time, but sadly it's a lot easier for a small account for me like me to get engagement on Reddit. And, I'm just going to continue the podcast. I won't be posting as much as I'm banned for the next week, but I'll still be keeping track of the subreddit, and that's what I'll try and do. And, I'll see if there's anything else that's new, and it looks like there isn't, so I think we're going to wrap up there. I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.